All right, ladies, time for question. You guys get to ask me a question. Josee, you went first before. Tania, do you want to go first?
No, keep it that way.
Okay. Well, I guess it's you, Josee.
Oh, me asking
Whoa.
a question. Whoa. So how did you adapt to this the lack of traveling right now, and you had to adapt with work. So how are you adapting to this change?
Um,
How are you
I
faring?
definitely miss the travel. The irony is I've also gone through phases where I get really tired of the travel, but now I miss it, and I think the missing is the conversations, is the people, and the connecting, and I think one goes through phases. And especially when you think, okay, this is 3 months, okay, this is 6 months, or all right, it might be a year, and it keeps shifting, and so like we had programs in Denmark which would have been just outside the window, like so they were in June, then we moved them to August, thinking, hey, that would be cool, and then when you realize that ain't going to happen, then there's that like, oh, here we go again, and have like, do you move it again, and then you have to take a step back and look at what's going on, and I'd in about October, I'd got hold of Nuno and I'd said to him, listen, I'm going to be putting a program together. It's going to be 8 weeks, and in March we're going to come to the BeActivated International Training Center. We're going to christen it. We're going to start it. And he went, no. And I said, what do you mean no? He said, it's not possible because this is what's going on in our environment, and it doesn't look like anything's going to happen until May at least. And I was like, what? And it's so everywhere the goals are moving and changing and closing, and even sending things out with FedEx. Like the one plane got through and the other plane got stuck in Joburg because it was leaving an hour later, and England closed their borders. Nobody could fly in from these countries, and so it was weird having one lot of people. Or let's say I send something to you and I send something to Tanya, except they ended up on different planes, and yours arrives the next day type thing, and Tanya's arrives in 3 weeks. It's like, what? How do you explain that? Well, the world's gone mad. There is no certainty, and I think that, like a lot of people, I've gone through the ebbs and flows of it. I enjoy. I think we're lucky. We're privileged. We have a beautiful place we stay in. Up until recently, the beaches were open. I was surfing, and so all of those things were fine. And the adaptation work-wise was, yeah, it's interesting because I really hate salesy stuff. And we're running this program, and these are the benefits, and all of this. I dislike it, so I'm not good at doing it, and I actually choose not to. So like, and like I've got some guy who keeps emailing me going, I can show you how to write the sales letter better so that you and da 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 da, and I go, awesome. This sales letter isn't a sales letter. It's me having a conversation about why I put this together, and that feels right for me. If a sales letter can do that at the same time, have the integrity of message of what we're trying to do, and so it's learning that the big part which you guys watched was like almost my crap. I actually need to get into social medias and being visible. I've enjoyed, but part of my thing was I'm visible when I'm with you, and when I'm not, I'm impossible to find. And now suddenly you're almost going, oh crap, he's in my feed again. Well, we created this monster. But you know what? I think the big part in the adaptation is actually knowing that we have something that's very important that can help people where they are in their homes, in their lives, to transition through this, to empower themselves in it, so they are more adaptable, more resilient, better able to, find options to come out of this well. And it's like I could have chosen the easy option. The easy option would have been, hey, I'm just going to shut down until this thing's over. I don't need to be doing all of this stuff. But the thing is that this is what I'm designed to do. I'm designed to share ideas, and they just happen to be these ideas right now. And this is the medium that we choose. Well, has been chosen for us because it's all that there is at the moment. And if we can, if the goal of the game is to reach people, this is how it has to be done within the limitations we've got. So I think I've become comfortable with it. I think Tim, who like takes control of the social media, and I think I'm a headache for him, because no matter how many times we agree that, okay, you're going to put these many things in so I can post them, he's still chasing me up all the time. Because like interviews, we can be done, and then I already have to be thinking about, who else am I talking to? How else are we doing this? So it's not like, hey, we do this and then I go surfing for a week. It's and all of those things are different. So it's been very invasive on one side, and on the other side, I've found a comfort with it. And I think particularly like doing the hack program. The part that really stressed Tim out, and where we had the conversation once it was all done, is I literally said to him, dude, I need you on a Zoom. This is what we're going to do. I didn't tell you, but I've ordered 275 of these things because it's had such a big impact to me. And this is what we're going to do. And he goes, no, but that's not how we do things. You've got to give a lead time. It's Christmas. You can't. I said, listen, the change has happened to me. I need to share it. And I don't care if it's Christmas and nobody has money. And I don't care if there's not enough time. Imagine we're a train. And we're literally, I'm on the front of the train, and I'm throwing down the railway tracks as we go. And that's how it's going to work. And it was beautiful, because like at the end he said, like, I had sleepless nights because you told me that, and you said, this is how we're going to do it. And sometimes something you're putting out like this afternoon, you're doing in the morning. I said, yeah, where's the problem in that? It's real. It's like when I wake up in that morning, I know what I want to say. And I realized that that's how I've done workshops, and that's how I do things. I arrive, I assess, and I share with you what's there in that moment. And so when I started to bring that into how I was bringing the messaging, that was authentic Doug. Hell, you guys got to watch me topsoil my grass. It wasn't overly pretty for anyone who didn't see it. But the reality is, that was what I was struggling with at that point. I had a task to do. I needed a strategy, which was chunking it down. And then I realized, hey, it's great to have a conversation about something, but most people talk about their strategies, talk about the plans, and then put no action in. And so if that's part of why we do it, like the purpose of Hack was that, how to put into action a different way of being in 2021, then we have to do that. And so it was cool showing and sharing that. And even this road trip that I've been on, there was no intention of sharing it with anyone. And I got on this mining road. It was a private road that was a blessing, because it was beautiful, because I'd been on all these horrendous dirt roads for like hundreds of kilometers, and kind of not knowing where you are with no signal, and suddenly hitting this like amazing road. I'm like, holy crap, all I have to do is drive fast. So I'm going to set up my camera and on the road, and then I'm going to talk. And if I say anything that's of value, I'll share it. And then I realized when I got back, actually, in videoing stuff to share with Matt and Amy, and just almost for myself, I was doing a process. I was having my own process, my own lessons. And so it was like, cool, let me put it together. So I've put it together. It's a 37-minute thing. And ironically, there's no surfing in there. Because even though it's a surf trip, it's actually, it's like, imagine that the surfing was the prize at the end, the cherry that you get. But we know that the most important thing that we have in the work we do with our clients is the journey, is the resistance. Like, why are you doing this in the first place? When things aren't working, what do you do? You know, it's like the first day I'd already driven 800 kilometers and found nothing, you know, and no guidance, nothing. But that's kind of what it feels like getting into an online space. It's like you set out with an intent, and frig, there's a lot of learning and a lot of challenge in it. And you know, even when I launched the online stuff, and I like, hey, one email to the group, hey guys, I've got this. Wow, a lot of people bought, but not nearly as many as I thought. I wonder why not. And all normal people go, Doug, you can't tell people once in one email that you have stuff. You actually have to remind people, tell them what it's about. I'm like, but they know what it's about. And all of that, because it's like, you know, if you're going to tell someone, you know, we're organizing a workshop in Montreal, Doug's coming, it's like, why would I want to see him? You know, and depending on who you're talking to, you might say, well, because he's really entertaining and pretty rude and it's fun. Oh, awesome, I'm in. Someone else, you say that to, you go, well, why the fuck would I want to go? Yeah, you know, someone else, well, because these ideas are game changers. Ooh, game changers, the magic word. I don't know. So I think the adapting is interesting, because the reality is I've learned a heck of a lot this last year. I've like actual learning from others. But where I have failed is my implementation. And that is why the hack program was so big and important, because when I was combining the activation tool with the bungee, I was finding my energy, my drive, my desire to do stuff, my action taking, that went up. Now there's not really measurable in that, but I'm finding that part changed. And so I got caught up in the learning. And it's exactly what we say to people. Start using it immediately. You know, when you've learned stuff, use it, because then you've got a momentum. And I think that in all the newness of the online space, I lost that most important lesson that I teach, is that when you learn something, do something with it. Start using it, start testing it. And I think I've got that now. So I'm feeling much more focused, much clearer on, you know, if I'm going to switch off, I'm going to switch off completely. And if I'm going to switch on, I'm going to switch on completely. But I'm not going to hover in between in the almost dones and, you know, and that's the fun part. It's a very roundabout answer to your question.
Yes.
but nothing new in that.
No.
Miss Tania?
I want to ask about that place in Spain, because
Portugal.
Really, oh, sorry,
Portugal.
Geez, I don't really know much about it.
Nuno, when he hears this, is almost going to have heart failure. You know, that was...
Okay, it's fine. He'll wake up.
The thing in Spain is the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain.
So the place in Portugal,
Yes.
What's the purpose? How is it going to function? Like, I don't really know anything about it.
All right. So Nuno and his brothers were renting space and had studios, and he had his session rooms, and he found a space, and we'd been talking for a long time about how do you centralize things. And so he found a space which is pretty amazing, that needed a lot, like new like factory space that could be converted into. So now they've got studios, treatment rooms, really amazing. And the top floor is going to basically be the playroom, which is Doug's room in a sense. But really what we wanted was a space where we could gather everyone together. And so, and what I love about it is there's a motel across the road, which means like people going, oh, I've got to get home, oh, I've got a flight. No. If we're finishing at 3 o'clock in the morning, we're finishing at 3 o'clock in the morning. So it would be an immersive experience, a like so we can do the basic stuff, but we can go deeper and deeper and deeper. And the thing is that the more time we spend playing, experimenting, showing, the more you will see. I have so much to share and so much to teach, but what happens is it can't just ever be me going, this is what I know. But what happens is when we can create those spaces, those immersive spaces, that's when you guys get to bring your stuff in too. And so it's almost like we can come out of those spaces with even far, far more expanded knowledge. And the other side would be actually having themes. So, you know, one, let's say it's a 5-day program, but we're working with athletes. So we have therapists and trainers and there who are learning and implementing, but we also have groups of athletes at the same time. So they're getting the benefit and you getting the training. And, you know, so it's kind of like we did with the Parkinson's. We were in the south of England. There were 6 therapists, and there were 10 Parkinson's patients there, and there was all the assessments being done, but the sessions, but at the same time, it wasn't planned, but it worked out so beautifully this way. Is that as they were working on the clients, I was also walking around, and when there were teaching points and when there were things to notice, and the feedback there was amazing, because it's like they found a different level, a different gear in how they could learn by seeing it live with real clients, that we walk through a process with the client. And so, you know, we had, I think it was 4 days of this, and it was magical. So the International Training Center offers that as a possibility. You know, again, the world has to open up. We have to be able to do these things.
Yeah,
but
it's still not clear to me.
Goes. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. It's still not very clear to me. Is it in respect of you giving workshops there, or like individual training for activists? Like
all of the above.
Okay.
Anything is possible. No, I think it really is that. You know, in my first, the other side is it's time that more people are teaching level 1. You know, we have Carl who I trained, and we did a whole lot of programs. So he trains in South Africa. He's going to be doing stuff in Australia. And so now we have a model on how we take someone from practitioner to trainer. And because as much as, you know, when at one point when I'd asked yes, I want to, and it's amazing how one by one those same people would come back. I'd say, when you do this level 1, I want you to sit here thinking about you as the teacher. And almost everyone came back with big eyes going, okay, no, I'm not ready. So there's a process to learn that. And so if we believe in this work, and if we believe more people should know about it, well, then we have to train more practitioners. And I can't do that, and Carl can't do that by ourselves. And so we need to build that too. So that's also part of the planning. And it would have, you know, we would already have been moving on that probably 9 months ago, if it weren't for all the lockdowns and things, because that was almost going to be the first kind of program we would start in Portugal. But it wouldn't start there, it would end there. So it would be like 8 weeks online. Each week we're going through components. We do, you know, you have to film yourself, send stuff in, submit, we watch, we talk about, we learn. And then when we get to Portugal, it would be now we close that up. And then when you're going back and teaching, then whether it be me or Carl or Nuno, or has to go and do workshops with you. You know, you don't get to do your first workshop all alone, because so it's a supportive thing. And Carl would share with you that his first workshop in Durban, the first day I actually had to take him out and get him drunk, because it was that tough, so that his next day would be easier, because he'd be because I had to be harsh, because every time something was said incorrectly, I have to interrupt you, I have to shut you down, because when you teach something the wrong way, that's what people hear. Or if you say one thing and do something else, which is the easiest thing to do when people are teaching, those are the things to interrupt. But he was resilient, and he was strong, and he was also clear what he was doing, like why he was doing it. So we got through that one, and we ended up doing 4 in total, where by the 4th one, I was just sitting observing, and every now and again I'd throw something in. And it was, and sometimes the thing is, what people don't realize with teaching isn't just about standing up and saying what you know. It's about managing the space. It's about, when I really realized that Carl was so completely ready, was he had someone on the table. We were in Joburg. I think there were about 35 people in the room. Someone on the table who was in that place of going down the staircase, very vulnerable place. And we had 2 people who wanted to talk and ask questions. And so he had to manage this lady in a beautiful healing space while managing the room. And that's what I'm looking for. That's the most important thing that you can do as a teacher, in my mind. That's what I was looking for. And the moment he did that, and it was awesome. I was a trots pa, which means a very proud dad in that moment, because that was the moment that I knew that it would be good, because that's the stuff that's important. Knowing how to teach the technique is awesome. How to manage the room is the big learning, and it's huge. And the funny thing is, like, the day before when we arrived, the slide projector wasn't working, and he uses slides, and so having to have him get all disrupted because of that. And then, dude, you need to manage yourself, bring yourself back. And so those are the things that we need to actually teach people, and then give a nice framework, and then suddenly we can have a lot more people teaching this work, more people doing this work, more people being reached, and so the message grows. And really what we're doing is, if we're clear that what we're doing is adding value to people's lives, is important for people, then it's the right thing to do. If it was a nice to have, and let's put a good marketing spin on it, and we can package it this way, yeah, that's nice. And but I think that's where it's got to go. And I'm having conversations with people around this, and it's good. So the world is on a bit of a pause, and I think this year I really am excited. I really feel motivated and driven to share effectively, to teach effectively, find ways. And it's some people are in positions where they have the time or they have the finances, and there are people who don't have the time, who are under pressure. I'm having messages from people about not being able to see clients at all. They're not being supported financially. Someone, husband or wife, other breadwinners lost jobs. All of those things are happening, and we have to be aware and mindful that people are fearful, but that's actually the time where we have to stand strong and say it's okay, and find ways. So I'm there. That's what I'm doing. And will I get distracted? Yes, I'm a distractible kid, but I'm motivated now. And so having the, like, a centralized hub in Europe certainly works well. And the surfing in Portugal is not too bad either. And no, for anyone watching, I have zero desire to go and surf at Nazaré. Just in case anyone's sure, 100-foot wall of water, it's not surfing to me. That's a totally different game. Maybe when I turn 60, that'll be a good challenge. But I'm not there yet. I have a few years to go. Awesome. Are you clearer yet, Tania?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is that it doesn't mean I won't be doing courses around the world. It doesn't stop the other stuff, but what it does do, it creates a centralized place for when we want to do, let's call it advanced stuff, different stuff, where we can bring everyone into one place.
And it's great. We haven't been to Portugal yet, Tania and I.
Yes.
Hey.
Or Spain, for that matter.
Or Spain. we can do Spain too. I enjoyed teaching in Spain. Spain was great. Yeah. Yeah. Both have pretty good food, I must say. You know, but it's fun. You know, I think the thing is that one has to keep driving oneself and motivating oneself, because if you get caught up with what's going on in the world, it's very easy to get distracted, and there are many rabbit holes and potholes that you fall into. And you know, it's I like to know what's going on. I like to investigate, but I do find that it's very easy to suddenly find, you know, like I don't do the Facebook and Instagram feeds and sit for hours. That's not my thing. But when I start researching something, I start scratching and pulling. But it's amazing how every time I do that, you eventually hit conspiracy and silliness. And I can feel how that shakes my certainty. That's the thing. It's not about right or wrong. I don't even care who's right and who's wrong. But what it does is it shakes my certainty, which means it puts uncertainty and hesitation into my system. And then I find it difficult to go, what have I got to share that may be of value? Because then I bring hesitation and doubt to a space where that's not what we're teaching. And we're not saying this is the answer. This is it's like, if you are more connected in here, you will survive and you will thrive in the space a whole lot better than if you bring uncertainty and hesitation and doubt to it. So yeah.